Good morning, good morning. Hello, crew. There's a few people jumping on now, which is awesome. Hopefully you're all good and well wherever you are. A little bit of a rainy day here where I am, which is great. Good for my grass. I like green grass. Anyway, hopefully you guys are great. Early bird catches the worm, that's for sure. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat, Thursday. Thankful Thursday. Thankful Thursday. Thursday the 30th of September. Reached the end of another month, team. Gang. Christmas is around the corner. I know we don't want to hear that, but it's gone so fast this year. But quick shout-outs to everyone who's online this morning. Harumi. I don't know if I'm saying that right. James, Ben, Alison, Aaron, Sharon, Nick, the other James. Got a couple of Jameses here. Jimmy, Alison, Shay, good morning, my love. Good to see all of you guys jumping on this morning for another Wealth Coffee Chat. Yes, Alison, a little bit of the old Frydenberg and the media grabbing on to potentially, something that might happen in the future. It's an interesting one, isn't it? The lending stuff. At the end of the day, something will happen, some changes of some description. We all know this, that's for sure. We know they're all maniacs and potentially it's a bit more political grandstanding than it should be. Potentially it's a bit more fear and ignorance than it's actually really is portrayed by the media. We all know that. It's probably way more than it is. But team, we're not naive either, are we? We know to lock ourselves away and understand what that might mean. There might be some small adjustments in servicing team, but, I don't think that's going to affect any of you too drastically. So, but if you are concerned, reach out to your coaches and your finance team and get the lay of the land of what that might look like. Always be ahead of this game rather than behind the game. So that's the good thing about getting on these Wealth Coffee Chats in the morning. We always discuss things and discuss what's a normal problem and an abnormal problem. That's really kind of the conversation. So, that's a good one, a good shout out there, Alison. But stay tuned. I will keep you guys up to date. I have already made plenty of inquiries around with my contacts, and I'll be letting you guys know what to prepare for or not to prepare for, what to ignore or what to pay attention to in that sort of space. But for the moment, take it easy, chill, and let's keep our eye on the prize as we go, because we've got a saying around here: this thing's a marathon, not a sprint. Buy well, never sell. Jason Witten's my name. If you haven't met me before, if you haven't joined us, if you're new, give us a shout out in the chat. Say new, let us know where you're dialing in from each morning. Hey, I've got 2 Wealth Coffee Chats up here today. Let's see if I can get rid of one. Which one? That one there. All right. Beautiful. There we go. Chriso from the Gold Coast. Joel's brother. Hey, good to see you, mate. Thanks for joining. Fantastic to have you here. It's great to see the family getting into it and supporting each other. That's great. That's great, Chris. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the shout out. This morning I want to talk about the idea, sort of like some foundational concepts, team, because I always like, in uncertain times, these been crazy, interesting times for the last couple of years. Luca. Lukac. Sorry, mate. I probably made a mess of announcing that, but you're new from Victoria, so fantastic and welcome. Awesome to have you here. Thanks for joining us each day, each morning, Monday to Friday, usually around 8:05 to 8:10. We kick off with a Wealth Coffee Chat. All sorts of conversations. Always great to have questions from you guys, and there's always something going on that we can chat about. Michelle's flying in from Dubbo. That's awesome. Teresa's from Budrum. There you go. It's good to see a bit of a mix of locations and peoples today. But I want to talk to you guys about a concept. Everyone will be intense. I don't know if I don't know if it's that dramatic, but that's cool. Thanks for jumping in. Yeah, listen, APRA, politicians, banks, you know the drill, gang. You know they're maniacs. They do what they do. We all know that this thing's a bit of ebb and flow, and you know, if they change some lending rules, then there'll be different ways to go about doing deals. Okay, just keep your head just keep your head on you, all right? Because this is normal. This is not abnormal. It's not abnormal that things change. It's not abnormal that there's uncertainty. But what is very normal is that you have decided to build a property portfolio, and it takes time, and you will go through between 3 and 5 changes in the marketplace, positive and negative changes that will affect your portfolio in positive and negative ways. That's what will happen. There's no, if anyone doesn't believe, realize that, then they've got rocks in their head. And so the reality is, it's our job as investors to keep our wits about us and make sure we have buffers and backup plans. You know, if things change a little bit more than they should for your circumstance. So good to see you guys all on today. So we've got a good crew in, so thanks for joining us. Someone in from the Mornington Peninsula, Julie. Great to see you guys. Hey, listen, I wanted to talk about a concept which kind of brings this together. And let me just jump over to my iPad here about the idea of transforming and storing our wealth. Now, I always like at moments like this when you say, okay, you know, maybe the interest rates will change, maybe APRA will come in and, you know, make a mess of it again, whatever that might be, which may or may not occur. And you and me as individuals, we actually can't do anything about it, right? So that's the thing. We can't do anything about Frydenberg. There's nothing we can do, right? So just let that go. Everyone with me? Big deep breath, let it go, right? Let it go. It's that song, Let It Go. I need to get that one. But listen, in all seriousness, you can't do anything about Frydenberg and APRA, okay? So there is zero value in you giving it energy. Be aware, but don't give it energy. Don't let it freak you out. Don't sing. Actually, true, my love. People will disconnect. But don't give it energy, okay? Observe it. Know what's going on, but don't let it mess with your mind. Don't let it give you, you know, second guessing yourself, because you and I both know if you are actually a property investor, not a good time Charlie, not one of these people who sort of come along and bought a property and, oh, it didn't go up in 5 seconds. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, like seriously? We are here for the long-time journey, team. In 15 or 20 years, after owning great properties that you considered and did your due diligence on, you will be super happy. I'm telling you that right now. Let's go the distance. Anyway, marathon, not a sprint, Alison. You dead right. Yep, you just run around it. Sometimes there's hills in marathons. Sometimes you just got to hunker down on the hill, mate, you know, and then on the other side, there'll be a downhill run. But I want to talk about the concept, like let's go baseline. Let's go really fundamental here about wealth and understanding this morning. Wealth, right? And I want to tell a bit of a story, and maybe you guys can sort of get in the there'll be less rentals. I tell you, we've got a problem in the marketplace with supply, team, gang, that is so severe. The moment the borders open in Australia and people start to come into Australia, we're going to have some crazy, crazy challenges, and the rents are going to go through the roof. You're dead right, Nick. I think people should pay a little bit more attention to politics, because don't complain about what you got if you didn't pay attention to politics. But I'm not going to have a political conversation this morning. But anyway, let's stay on track, Jason. Stay on track. I'm getting distracted here. I'm like a squirrel. Anyway, so the idea we all have, we all need to grasp and understand, is about how we transform and store our wealth. And I want to tell a little picture about something that we would all think about right now. So maybe give it a compared to what. So think about mining. All right, think about mining. Tell me, team, what happens if we want some steel to build a house or steel to build a bridge? If we think about this, if we're going to build a house or a building out of steel, that's a pretty wonky building. Where does steel start? All right, where do we get steel from? And just roll with me here. Entertain me with this conversation and story. So I'm going to make a point about it. But tell me right now, just chuck it in the chat. Where does steel start? Like, what happens to steel before it gets to, being put in this house over here, so we can build something? Where does it all start, team? Well, for anyone who doesn't know, before it gets to blue scope steel, Bob, it's actually in the dirt, right? It's in the dirt. What do we have to do? We have to dig it up. All right, we have to dig that thing up. Yeah, we find the iron ore, right? We get the ore out, and then we got to send it somewhere to get processed. That's, process the thing. And then we've got to turn it into whatever it is. That might be BlueScope's job. They turn it into pieces of, you got to send it overseas and buy it back. That's where my BlueScope comes in, and then we can maybe build a house out of it. All right. Now, hopefully this kind of makes sense when I'm trying to talk about the next bit, which is, where does our wealth start? Right. So, where does our wealth start? If we're thinking about this and we're thinking about a journey of our wealth, then we've got to transform it from one thing, one place, something over here. This is you. Oh, I'll draw you upside down. This is you. All right, person, lady, man, whatever it is. Person here. Where does our wealth start? Okay, what happens with this person? How do we transform nothing into something? So we go to work, and whether you've got a business or a job, you exchange some time, some knowledge, some skill, and you get money. Everyone good with this? I mean, it sounds basic, but I don't want you guys to miss the lesson on this one today. We're exchanging time, knowledge, and skill, and that transforms into dollars. All right? This is a super cool thing. The challenge that I find is we underestimate how valuable that is. We don't really get and understand the process of now the transformation. So we're transforming nothing, something into nothing into something. We now transform our time, our knowledge, our skill into dollars, into resource. Look, this is amazing. It's awesome. And many of you right now are going to go or do this today. You're going to transform a whole day's hours into money, which is awesome. But what happens in this gap, this chasm here, when we end up with money? What happens on its way to being, well, it should be on its way. What happens on its way to being stored in a place which is renewable and compounding and useful for the future? Because you've got to put a few things aside, right? What happens? And it takes time to build. Dead right, Michelle. In here are our costs. In here's fear. In here's ignorance. in here's, lack, whatever it is, there's a gap here. And often I find that our money starts across this gap, goes down, so it starts out decent and starts out down here. And often, because we're not taught anything about money, we're not taught anything about wealth, we have a lot of fear and negativity around wealth in our society, like the tall poppy syndrome, oh, that rich wanker, oh, that's greedy, that's evil. What a bunch of rubbish like that emotive crap is all about. If you're poor, you can't help anyone because you don't have any resources in that concept, right? So understand we have to learn how to have our money transform, our time, our knowledge transform into resources, dollars, and then ultimately be able to have it cross this gap of challenges to be stored ultimately in some assets. All right, in some assets. So this is the thing we have to master because most of us are bloody good at this bit. We're good at it. And you know what? That's what's going to happen. Yeah, you're dead right, Graham. It's a life drama, this little drama here, and we get caught in this little, this loop life, and for all of us, this is the game. This is the trick. This is the one. Because to be honest, once you sort of get a few things dialed when it comes to assets, it's not that difficult. If you guys have been around doing a study, maybe spend 1, 2, 3 years really getting to know and understand the real estate game and property and those things, well, you get it. You get it. It's not complicated to choose a good property. It takes time. You've got to be, in the right place at the right time. All of those things are solvable. But really, the game is, how do we consistently have our dollars and cents cross the gap and be stored in assets for long-term wealth for us and our family? Property. I love property. Shares, perfectly fine. I don't mind. I don't care where we store them. As long as we understand this gap, mastering this drama, life drama, as Graham was saying right there, is the key for us. Because we must know, if we want to put dollars somewhere, there's 3 things you want those dollars to do. Number 1, I'm going to just change the size of my thing. Number 1, you want it to create cash flow. You want an income from those dollars, okay? You put the dollars into a piece of real estate and instantly you get money returning from it, okay? I love residential real estate because it pays you weekly. Every week we get paid. Like clockwork. It's the most reliable. It is the absolute, there is no argument. And tell me in the chat if you think there's any other more reliable income stream on the planet, ladies and gents, on the planet, that is more reliable than residential real estate. Every week. Yes, there's vacancies every now and then, but in comparison to every other asset class, paid weekly. On the dot. And if someone doesn't want to pay and you've got a good property, someone moves out and someone else moves in. It is regular like clockwork. It has been around for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. That's why I love it. Anyway, getting a bit fired up here, Jason. Cash flow. Fantastic. I like that idea. You want this thing to be able to have what is called leverage. Okay? I don't know if I spelt that right. I can't. See without my glasses. Leverage. You want to be able to put in $1 and buy something for $5. All right? Makes sense to me. You want it to have some tax advantages because at the end of the day, team, you're paying taxes, 30, 40% of taxes, and that is an inefficiency that we have a strategy to return for us. And ultimately, it would be great if it grows in value. Now, listen to me. Listen to me. This is so important to understand. Other than recycling some equity to purchase another property and get as many properties as you need, you want 4 to 5 properties. Growth, being focused on property value growth or any growth is fool's gold, okay? Just listen to me because you're not selling the property. Like, who cares what the thing's worth, all right? It's an ego measurement, okay? It's a flawed measurement. I'm not saying we don't want to buy and expect growth because that's part of the plan. But if you look at this the wrong way up and you put growth as the key the key indicator for success, every property you ever buy will disappoint you at some point in time. And often beginning investors give up and it didn't grow. Well, so what, mate? You decided, if you were smart, if you weren't a good time Charlie, the commitment was 15 to 20 years. All right? See it through. See it through. The concept, we transform our time. We transform our time. We're smart about how we bridge the gap and we store our wealth for the future to get our time back, to be able to add more value to the world. That's the concept as we roll. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense, team. Let me know in the chat if that, landed in some way. Because I think it's important when there's uncertainty and we're like, what's going on here? Maybe interest rates will rise. Fine. Because you know what will rise on the other side of interest rates rising or things being tightened. And who said it in the chat before? Someone said it in the chat. Let me find it for you. Someone said, wow, that's all right because the rents will go crazy. And they will, gang, team. Any tightening, any restriction on supply, rents will go up. I can tell you that right now. So roll with it, all right, as you go. All right, team, well, that's it. Let's call it done and dusted. Wealth Coffee Chat, done and dusted for Thursday, the 30th of September. You guys stay safe and well and awesome wherever you are. And until we catch up tomorrow, let's hang out tomorrow about 8:05 for another Wealth Coffee Chat. We're done and dusted. You guys take care. Till then.